Hi guys! The palette that I'm going to be playing with today is something that is kind of special to me, and this is the new Colourpop Smoke Show palette. If you haven't seen what this looks like, it's basically a kind of gray and black and silver monochromatic palette, and the reason why I say this is kind of special to me is that before I used to get into makeup, like, you know, playing around with makeup and stuff, when I used to go out, I would always wear a black and silver smoky eye, and that's basically what this palette is. So I am really excited to play with this. So here is what the packaging looks like. Just like all of the other monochromatic palettes from Colourpop, comes with this little plastic thingy inside, and this is the palette. So we're gonna go ahead and do an eye look with this. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just so excited. And I also have this thing that I bought from Colourpop such a long time ago. This is probably not even available anymore, but this is the Halo Top and Colourpop Collab. These are two Super Shock shadows, and I think I want to use one of these just because I have them and I want to use them, and I feel like I don't want to just use this palette because that is what everyone else is doing with this palette. So I want to pull in just something different to make this look not like everyone else's, because let's be real, there's only so many things you can do with a gray and black and silver palette. So I do want to put a little bit of a spin on this. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and just swatch this palette so we can see how it swatches. Now, one thing to point out is that a lot of these grays kind of look similar when swatched out, but I guess that makes sense since they're all in like the black family with some white added to it, so not really surprised by that. But also, like, the two blacks in this palette look pretty much exactly the same in the swatches, even though one of them has kind of like glitter particles in it and the other one is just a matte black. But I feel like on the eyes, those two shadows are probably going to look exactly the same, so just something to kind of keep in mind, I guess. So before we get into this, I need to, of course, prime my eyes, so I'm going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer, and then we're going to get into this. Like I said, I don't really know what I want to do today, so I might even look up like a couple of pictures for inspiration or something like that, because I don't really have a plan with this, and I do want this to be kind of like a cool look. So I take that back. I haven't looked up anything for inspiration because I do think that I want to show you guys a very simple way to do a impactful, like, kind of evening night look and still, you know, not take forever on your eyeshadow and just have it be kind of simple. But I also do want to pull in the Super Shock shadow, like I said. So I think my plan is going to be to just do a very simple but still impactful smoky eye. So mostly the shadows that I want to focus on today is going to be the gray here, which is called Slated, and I also want to use this kind of gunmetal gray up here, like all over my lid. So I don't know if I'll be using like a ton of these shades, but like, let's be real, they're just gray and silver and black, so there's really only so many things you can do. Like, I think I just said that. I'm so sorry if I keep repeating myself, but that's just what happens sometimes. So I'm gonna first go into Slated here, and I'm going to put that into my crease. Shadow does have a little bit of kick up, so just be careful with that because I do feel like there's a chance of there being some fallout with these shadows. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by packing this kind of low down in my crease here, and I do think that this brush might have been a little bit too big to do this. And already I'm going to change my mind, because what I'm gonna start off by doing is actually just packing the shadow all over my lid, because I find it a lot easier to blend out smoky eyes if I start in this direction and then kind of work upwards. Plus it will give you a good idea of like how this shadow will layer on its own here if you wanted to do an all matte eye look or something like that. So I'm just going to basically pack this all over my lid, even if I am going to cover this up with the shimmer shade, but it's just going to give me a better foundation here and just an easier way to work outwards. So this is my MAC 242 brush. I love using this brush for doing this kind of work where I'm putting down a matte all over my crease. As you can see, I'm not pulling this up too high, because I am gonna go in and start blending this out after, so I wanna make sure I have some room to blend this up. And I also find that if you have a problem with some of your shimmers maybe creasing, let's say you have hooded eyes like myself, I don't really struggle with a lot of creasing, but some shimmers do crease on me. And if I know that the shimmers crease on me, a good tip is just to put down like the same color matte underneath, because then if your shadows do crease, like, you'll not really see your lid through it, you'll just kind of see the other shadow through it, if that makes sense, so it's not as obvious. So you can see this laid down very nicely, so I feel like you could definitely do like a matte smoky eye with this color if you wanted to. I'm gonna go back in with my fluffy brush now, and I'm going to start just really buffing out the edges, because I do think that this is the only color that I'm gonna have in my crease, so I do want to make sure that this is looking nice and blended and buffed out. I'm also going to take this shadow down to my lower lash line once I've done this, and then also blend it out down there. So I think this is looking fairly good, but I will say I can definitely tell a difference on how this blended out on top of my eyeshadow primer and how the color is looking underneath my eye. I went to just look in the mirror and I forgot to rip this thing off. So what I mean is that I feel like on my lid, it's almost blended out into kind of like a blue tone, whereas on my lower lash line here, where I don't have any very light eyeshadow primer, the color is showing up a lot darker. So I find that very interesting, and you can see that the color did fade a little bit when I went in and start blending in my crease, but I feel like if you went in with just another layer on the lid, you could totally make that, you know, very nice and opaque. So next up, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into Smokin', which is this kind of slate gray. Wait, it's not a slate gray. Is it a slate gray? Is that what it's called? Gunmetal gray, that's what I was trying to say. I'm gonna take this again on my MAC 242 brush, and I'm going to spray that with some Fix Plus. And then basically just put that all over my lid, but I need to open a new bottle of Fix Plus because I am out of my little mini, so I'm gonna put that aside because I love saving those for traveling. And I have a whole new bottle, which makes me so happy. So I've had some of you guys ask me how many Fix Pluses I go through. And honestly, even if I use it a lot, I never use it on my face. I really only use it on my brushes. So I don't go through that many. I would say I go through maybe, I don't know, 3 of these a year or something like that, which I don't really feel like is that much. I mean, maybe for some people it's a lot, but given the fact that I do eyeshadow basically every day, sometimes twice a day, I don't really think it's that much. So I'm gonna take that shadow and just give that a spritz here, and then I'm just going to pack this all over my lid and basically kind of blend it into my crease as well. And if you really wanted this to pop, you could probably use some glitter glue, and I feel like that's what I should have done because I'm already having a little bit of fallout with this shade, which is not great. This is not the kind of shade that you want to have fallout with because it's not going to look good if you try to clean it up and you fail. But it is blending into my crease beautifully here, so I think this is going to be a very, very quick video and a very easy look, and I really, really do like the color of this. Now, of course, if you're someone who likes to have a little bit more definition on the outer corner, you could totally go in with some black over the top of this or before you put the shadow down. But I really like just very basic smoky eyes where I only use 2 or 3 shades. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do, and it's one of the things that I always seem to do when I'm in a hurry and I need to kind of get out the door quick, but I still want to have like a, you know, impactful eyeshadow look. I know I keep saying impactful. Apparently that's like the word of the day for me. Sometimes I have days where I just like say the same word over and over again and then I just never say it again. I almost feel like the way that the shadow is blending out that I almost didn't even need to go in with a matte in the crease because it almost blends out into a matte. And you could probably use the shade just all over the lid and then blend it out after, but like this is looking pretty cool. Like this is very much a me kind of look, so I like that. I am gonna, however, just go in with a little bit more of a, I was gonna say go in with more of the shadow, but I'm just gonna use my clean fluffy brush here that I have a little bit of gray still on and just make sure that the transition between the shimmer and the matte is kind of mixed together here. Just like so, and I really like how this is looking. So that's all I'm going to do with this palette. Like I obviously could have used way more shades, but this is what I felt like doing today, and this is not a review anyway, it's just a first impression of me playing with some Colourpop things. So next up, let's get into this Super Shock Shadow Duo. I'm pretty sure these are not available because I've had these for a while. So I think the one that I want to use is going to be the green one. Now, I am a huge fan of Halo Top. Like, I love Halo Top. I've been a Halo Top stan for years, and I never say I'm a stan for anybody or anything, but I quite like Halo Top. So this one is in the shade Semi Sweet, and it looks like this. It's beautiful. I feel like it's going to really go with my shirt, which is one of the reasons I wanted to use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this on a kind of small pencil brush, and then I'm of course going to spray that as well because that's what I do. And I'm just gonna pop that in my inner corner for like a pop of color. Oh wow, that is beautiful. That is such a pretty kind of pastel-y green. Just making sure that I mix this into the grays, but not so much that it's taken over. Just gonna wrap this around to my lower lash line as well here. Oh man, is that shadow beautiful. I love the combination between the kind of gray and this color. I think they work so well together. So this is where I want to leave it with these shadows. So I was thinking I was going to use Zulu by Colourpop in my waterline, but I'm changing my mind and I'm going to take Freak by Urban Decay because I feel like this is going to match like perfectly with my inner corner. And obviously if you don't have like a shadow or a liner similar to this, you could just go with black as well. But I really like matching my inner corner to my waterline. And since I have the option to, and I have so many awesome eyeliners, I'm definitely going to do that. And I'll put on some liner mascara and choose a lipstick to go with this. I'll probably end up choosing like some kind of a nude because it's kind of hard to pick something else that's going to match with everything else that's going on today. I feel like I have a lot going on. So let me go ahead and finish off my look and then I'll be right back. So here's the look all done, and I feel very much like myself, if I can say so, because I think this is just, it brings back old memories, you know, because I used to use so many grays and blacks and silvers that this is like right up my alley. So for lips, I use my Sorbet Non-Stop Liquid Lipstick in the shade Ribbon, and then on top I use my Jeffree Star Gloss in Peach something, Wet Peach. So that's what's on my lips, and I feel like this is a very neutral, but still kind of glossy, and it just kind of goes with the look, you know, like it doesn't disturb anything. It doesn't distract, it's just nice and shiny on my lips without really being too out there. So that's gonna be it for this look. As for the palette, I really like this palette. I know I only use 2 shades, but like it's a great palette still, and I will definitely use this more. If you want to see more looks with this, I can probably do so, as long as you allow me to bring in more things, because otherwise I'll get bored really easily. So yeah, let me know if you want to see more looks with this, and I can probably do so, because this is a really fun palette, and I like this, and this is something that I can definitely see myself taking with me traveling, because it's always nice to have like very dark shades to deepen up looks with, so I really like this palette for that reason. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know if you picked up this palette. Let me know what you think of my look. Also, if you want to see some other first impression videos that I have on my channel, you can click on one of these too. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.